Granblue Fantasy Relink's new update added a lot of content in the form of 2 new quests, 2 new playable characters and a lot of new sigils. But on top of that we saw a huge list of character changes in the form of some big buffs, as well as a few nerfs here and there. I've been testing all of this and I'm telling you, some of these buffs are absolutely crazy. And so in today's video I want to focus on one of the biggest winners of the patch, a character that I have loved since the release of the game, but sadly has always suffered from a big problem, and that is none other than Id. A character that has access to 2 different transformations that completely change his playstyle, being able to turn into his dragon mode but also entering Godmight. And despite how cool and powerful these transformations are, they are the main reason as to why Id was falling behind most of the cast. But that may no longer be the case due to the new sigil as well as the huge list of buffs that Id received. And so with that being said, hello everyone, my name is Dark Hero and welcome back to another Granblue Fantasy Relink video. I'm very excited for this video, so let's go over all of the Id changes. Now before we talk about the series of buffs that Id has received with the new update, I think we should talk about the brand new sigil, and that is the Versalis Heart. This is essentially the warpath sigil that all the other characters have received, except for some plot reason both the MC and Id have a different name for their warpath sigil. So what does this sigil do? Well, it actually changes the way that Id plays entirely, and this is no exaggeration. This sigil is going to grant Id 10% enhanced damage while he is in dragon form and in Godmight as well, with the drawback that the Versalis gauge will have a 200% additional depletion rate. However, the additional effect of this sigil is very unique, as it makes it so that Id cannot transform or lose the transformation until the gauge depletes by itself. So let me show you this in practice. So the way that you play Id normally is you try to build up your Versalis gauge by doing skills and combo finishers, and you can actually build it up fairly quickly. And just like that, when it is full, we're able to turn into a dragon. And now that we are in dragon mode, we can perform combo finishers, and that is going to give us 1 extra tick for our gauge. And of course we can get additional ticks by performing a link attack like so, and now we have 3 out of the 4 that we need to enter Godmight. And once we have 4, we get into Godmight, just like that. However, that is not the way that this is going to work with the new sigil. So now that I have the Versalis Heart sigil equipped, building up towards my dragon form is pretty much the same as before. Gonna do this link attack and combo finisher. And just like that, I'll turn into a dragon. However, now as you can see, my gauge is depleting a lot quicker. But let's go ahead and do these combo finishers to build up our dragon gauge. And as you can see, now that it is finally full, I'm not actually transforming into Godmight. That is only going to happen whenever the gauge fully depletes by itself, as you can see. And the same thing goes for Godmight, which means that I'm able to do the super powerful finisher. So let's go ahead and do that. And this would normally deplete Godmight at once, but as you saw right there, that was not the case. So in practice, what this means is that, quite simply, you'll be able to deal more damage while you are in dragon mode, and you get to enjoy it for a bit longer while you do the combo finishers. And because you do deal a very good amount of damage while in dragon mode, and especially if you have good enough cooldown, you'll be able to use these skills more often. You'll be able to deal a lot of damage before you enter Godmight. But at the same time, once you enter Godmight, you'll be able to unleash these powerful finishers more than once, and I mean a lot more than once. As you can see, I'm going to be able to do the first. Let's go ahead and do the second one, and of course we're using the skills while in Godmight because they will be dealing more damage. And look at that damage, and before that runs out, I'm able to use Ragnarok form to refresh the Godmight, and then I'm able to do the powerful finisher 2 more times, at the very least. I mean, just look at how many times I'm able to do this. So as you can see, I've been able to do this 5 times in a row. And a very important thing is that if you manage to synchronize Godmight with link time as well, as I'm going to trigger here, you'll be able to keep on spamming this as much as you want because your gauge does not deplete while you are in link time, so you might even be able to trigger this 5, 6, 7 times, depending on how your teammates are boosting up the link time gauge. Now, a very important thing to keep in mind is that you still have the same requirements to enter the dragon form as well as God Might. So if, for example, I'm now a dragon form and I'm trying to reach God Might, but for whatever reason I don't have enough time to be able to get all of my ticks, as you can see, because I don't have 4 ticks, I'm not going to be able to turn into God Might and I will go back to base form. Now, a very important thing that you can do as it, that I don't think a lot of people know about this, is that you can actually cancel the animation for transformation. As you can see, I have the criteria for me to be able to enter God Might, and my gauge has fully depleted, but because I am blocking, I'm able to cancel the timing for my transformation. You can also keep on dodging for a little bit, as you can see right here, but you have to be careful, because if you do get your guard broken, you are going to end up transforming. And of course, if you go to attack, you are actually able to do a full combo like then, and as you can see, you can go back to cancelling and blocking. So that is a very cool trick that you can do as it that I really don't think a lot of people know about. You can also do this before you enter dragon form, so that is something to keep in mind. Additionally, because you are impervious to damage whenever you are transforming and doing this animation, like so, you can actually use that timing for you to be able to dodge an incoming AoE that is maybe a one-shot or something, so if you time it well, you can actually avoid a big attack. And of course, because you're going to be spending a lot more time in God Might and in Dragon form, you're going to have the additional benefits of having Stout Heart while in Dragon form, which makes you uninterruptible and also gives you a 20% damage reduction. And additionally, you'll be able to take better advantage of the Versalis Ignition Sigil, which is also going to grant you Stout Heart while in God Might, as well as Drain, and further boost your damage cap by an additional 30%. So this sigil by itself can already be a massive boost to its power, especially when you are able to land those powerful God Might finishers one after another. So now let's take a look at all of the buffs that it has received, and this is a huge list. For starters, they've made it so that strong winds and ground tremors are no longer going to make it so that God Might will be interrupted and knocked out of that state, which was previously happening and was the reason why so many id players were actually running a sigil that was dedicated to countering those environmental factors. So that is a very nice quality of life change. Additionally, we saw a huge increase in the damage cap for a lot of its skills while in God Might, those being Regin Leave, Unbound, Ragnarok Form, Scourge, and Never Enough. Additionally, Fourfold Vengeance damage cap was increased based on its charge level, with the damage cap of this skill being further increased while in God Might. Additionally, Atonement's damage cap was increased, and it was further increased while in God Might. Additionally, the damage cap of the Skybound art while you are in God Might has been increased, and the damage cap of combo finishers performed in God Might has also been increased. And finally, a new effect has been added to the enhanced Versalis Gauge Link Time Mastery node that makes it so that landing combo finishers will shorten skill cooldowns. This of course only taking effect during link time. Now, a very important thing to keep in mind about all of these buffs is that they are not going to translate very well into the 60-second damage test that we have in the game, and that is solely because its transformations take a very long time, and with this new sigil, by the time you finish the animation and enter God Might, you'll see that the timer is just about to run out, and so you are left without a very good way of showcasing just how much damage you are able to get from this character. Still, as you can see from the gameplay in the background, the damage numbers that you can get from him are absolutely crazy, and because you are uninterruptible, have damage reduction and drain, and 2 different sets of movesets and skills, you end up with this really powerful character that is a lot better than it was before, but still shares some of the shortcomings. So if I were to illustrate in a graph the problems that it has with its damage performance, it would look something like this, where you are ramping up in damage, but then you have these massive dips where you are essentially just not dealing any damage because you are transforming, but then you go back to dealing more damage with your new form, except now in the new update with the new sigil, you're going to spend a lot more time with these forms that allow you to deal a lot more damage, especially while you are in God Might. So if you are measuring characters in a pure DPS contest, it is inevitably going to fall behind a lot of them because of this transformation mechanic. But still, given how much damage he is able to output as of now, and how easy and comfortable and how much sustain you have to do this now, I really do believe that it can now be considered a very high tier character. Maybe it doesn't sit at the top with Charlotta and all of the other monsters, but that is something that I'll have to debate in my tier list. But let's be honest, the game as is very easy, and at the end of the day, these were massive nerfs for one of the fan favorite characters, and my actual favorite character, so I'm very thankful for them. Still, it's so sad that Gendegozo didn't see any buffs, but it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think of the it buffs, and I'll be making more videos on some of the other characters that were also buffed, so if you have a recommendation for me, let me know in the comment section below. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching, my name is Dark Hero, and as always, happy hunting!